How about those lifeguards?
Take it off.
Alright, so I was terrified. I was terrified. The sweat was beating up on my forehead.
Oh, yeah?
Right here. So this, I was terrified, right? The sweat was beating up on my forehead. My legs were shaking as I peered over the edge of that roof. Ooh, that's a long way down. I looked up to my destination, and off in the distance is the pool, sparkling. That's where I'm going. All of a sudden I hear my buddy on the right say, "Come on, Chris, you can do it." So I convince myself, yeah, I can make it. So I get ready. I rear back, and I jump. And I kick my legs out in front of me, and I'm soaring through the air. And then I did what you should never do in a situation like this. I looked down, and all I saw before me was concrete in between me and the pool.
Darn.
And I thought, uh-oh, I have underestimated the gap between this roof and the pool. And I started to freak. And I like flailed my arms around like an octopus out of water. I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die! And then as I was approaching the pool, my feet clipped the edge of the pool and slammed face first right in the water. True story. And that's funny. But what if I had not made it? What if I had hit the concrete? That might have had serious consequences. Guys, I think in the same way we tend to underestimate the gap between God and us. We tend to underestimate this gap between God and us. And the consequences of underestimating that gap are pretty serious. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So in the same way, like, say you had a skydiver, right, and he's jumping out of a plane, and he underestimates when to pull his chute. Uh-oh. That could have fatal consequences. Or say you have like a motocross guy, like a stunt guy, and he's jumping the ramp, right? And he underestimates how far it is to get to the other side. That could have serious, fatal consequences. And in the same way, if we underestimate this gap between God and us, it could have serious consequences. So we're going to look at why there's this gap. Like, why does the gap exist? How big is this gap? And then what are the consequences? What are these serious consequences of underestimating this gap? So first we're going to answer the question, why? Why the gap? And if you remember what Travis talked about 2 weeks ago, he talked about how pain was real, right? How whether you believe in God or not, we know that pain is real. And he read off some statistics that were kind of scary and frightening, and we thought, man, there's pain all around us, and it's real. And I think we ended with the question of, well, why are things not right in the world? Because we know that things aren't right. Our hearts cry out for injustice when we see it. And we know that when we feel that pain, we know that that's not right. That's not the way it's supposed to be. And I think that the answer to that question is the same answer to the question of why there's a gap. And the answer is that because we have rejected God and we have turned our backs to Him. We have rejected God and we have turned our backs to Him. And that happened from the beginning, from the very first man. He rejected God and he turned his back. And that had serious consequences. And we see those consequences today. And since then, everyone else is included in We've all rejected God and turned our backs. And this is in the Bible. It says so in Isaiah. He tells us about it. Isaiah says, we all, like sheep, have gone astray. Each of us has turned to his own way. So what does that mean? Is he talking about sheep? No.
No.
We all, like sheep, have gone astray. He's talking about all of mankind, from Adam to us, from Mother Teresa to Hitler. We all, from the good guy to the worst guy, we all have rejected God. We all have gone astray. And not only that, but it's individual. It's each of us. Each of us has turned his own way. We all have rejected God and we've turned our back to him. We have turned and gone our own way. And so that's the question of why. Why is there this gap? And so the second question was, well, how big is this gap? So just